Hey, we are live. We are live.
Yes,
Welcome,
we are.
everyone.
Yeah,
Welcome to
2022.
2022. Another year of happy half hours in front of us here. If just in case this is your first time here, uh, you're welcome to a weekly broadcast by Carolina Retirement Planners. I'm David Shakavich, the president of Carolina Retirement Planners, and joining me here is my daughter, Sam Shakavich, partner in the business. And ever since COVID hit back in in 2020, since June, we have been having weekly 4:30 little meetings where we hope to dispense some wisdom, knowledge, keep you up to date, grab your favorite drink and enjoy a half an hour or so of things. And behind the scenes, we have another person, Amy, who is our director of client fund and also the person that figures out how to do all this. I think we're doing this in
Magic Land. Magic Land.
Magic
All
Land.
you say is Magic Land.
We're
It sure
doing
feels
this
like
over
Magic
Zoom
Land.
and
It does. Yeah.
we're doing it in Zoom and then feeding it into Facebook. So we combine and talk about some fun things and some technical things. Today we're going to talk about both some humorous and some realistic. I might call it New Year's resolutions, but things that beginning of every year you should kind of think about. Now, I have this straight, and we're going to kind of remind you of those as we go along.
Housekeeping.
Yeah, but we also like to talk about some fun things, what day it is. Amy, what is today? Today is a special day.
Today is National Cuddle Up Day. So it's a day to get warm and cuddly and cozy with the ones that you love and care about.
And it sure looks like a good cuddly day out there. I hope my wife, Sandy, is watching this so she knows it. But we were joking ahead of time. All three of us have puppy dogs that we can cuddle with as a fallback position. And Sam has Jessie, a little rescue dog. And we have Sandy and I have Dogma. And Amy, you have two,
I do have two French bulldogs, Turn Up and Yeti.
Turn Up and Yeti.
Oh
my gosh, she's even got
Christmas, we got her the cutest hoodie. She's very cooperative, but
I love it. I love
little hoodie.
Look how adorable. Oh, I love those hoodies. Love them.
And I also see that Barbara has joined us. Alexandra, Robert, and Bruce have joined us saying happy 2022. Lynn is also here. It's just great having everybody. What are you drinking today, Sam?
Today I actually have a little leftover Tuscan red blend. We actually used it to cook with over the weekend. We made a beautiful bolognese from scratch and some pappardelle pasta from scratch. One of our favorite things to do is to have a lazy Sunday and find something that takes all day to cook. So I think it was like 7 to 8 hours to make this beautiful bolognese. And it was just stunning. And so that's what I'm drinking. Actually, this was not what went into the bolognese, because actually for the first time I used what is probably the actual recipe from Marcella Hazan, from her essential Italian cooking essentials cookbook. And it was actually white wine that we cooked with. And this is just what we drank with it afterwards.
Doesn't seem to make sense putting white wine into a red sauce, does it?
I know, right? It's a little counterintuitive, but I think that for the first time ever, I have made an appropriate bolognese. I made the best tasting, I made the best bolognese of my life, and probably the truest bolognese of my life.
Well, next time you need to save some to share with your parents,
Yes, next time we will invite you over for some bolognese.
Okay. And I, of course, although it doesn't look like it, I do put ice in to make it look better. I'm drinking my normal herbal tea because I found the drinking the right stuff may by the end of the half hour. I may not be as comprehensible as I am now. So
Mhm.
I have a oatmeal porter from Highland Brewing, which is where my sister-in-law is the director of events in Asheville. So drinking her beer.
cool.
Cheers, Nikki, if you're on. So sometimes she watches.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah,
Oh,
it's good.
cool.
And just to remind everyone, Sam's husband is is a brewer at Waterline Brewery here in town. So
Well, yeah, as for many people who tuned in or actually came to Waterline not just a few weeks ago, back in December, when
That's
we
right.
broadcast live from the brewery.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just want to say hi to Nadine and Carol, who says Happy New Year. Rick and Marcy have joined us as
Happy
usual.
New Year.
Our own Mary and Teresa, who is
Maciejewski Dresky. Or yeah,
Amy's
Teresa
mother.
Maciejewski Dresky Carol. My mom.
David and Pat, it's good to see you here in this new year. Jay and Carter, you too, back. Good to see you back in this new year. Jean, good to see you. Patrick
Debbie.
and Dan and Barb are checking in from the mountains. So we're off to another great year once again. So
Yes, we
so
hope that
let's-
everybody had a wonderful, happy new year and was able to ring in the new year, whether it was, in bed or awake.
So let's plunge into some of the meat of the matter interspersed with some fun. And one of the first things I think we want to talk about is charity.
All right.
And when it comes to charity, what's one of the, you're able to give money to charity. Now, last year, everybody, husband and wife both could give $300 to charity without having to itemize on your tax return. They have not yet renewed that this year. We'll see what happens, but that has gone away. But one of the key charity items, if you are over 70 and a half, doesn't take, not 72, 70 and a half, you have the ability to do QCD. What's that stand for, Sam?
A qualified charitable distribution.
This allows you to tell whoever has your IRA, 401k kind of money, to send a donation directly to a given charity. And by doing it the right way, you can avoid having it appear on your tax return. You don't have to itemize. It doesn't increase your Medicare Part B or your Social Security tax or anything like that. And you can give up to $100,000 a year. So this is if you're over 70 and a half and you give the charity or desire to give the charity, got to remember this. We help a lot of clients fill out all the forms it takes every year. It's just another one of those little tricks you should be thinking about now. What's my charitable giving going to be? So how about a fun one? And you two have any fun ones queued up?
Well, what about consuming or eating all of your produce before it becomes unrecognizable and you don't know what the heck it is that you bought?
Yeah, every year.
Sometimes that happens.
Buying more, we all want to eat more vegetables and greens, but we want to eat them before they turn into that composted goo in the back of the vegetable drawer. Okay. Here's another one.
Today for lunch.
Yeah.
I
got 10 of the serious ones today. So here's another one. Beneficiary designation. Sam, why is that important?
Oh, well, that's immensely important because things happen in your life. You go through life changes, and it's really easy to forget about those beneficiary designations that you set, years and years ago. So it's just a good practice to every year take a few minutes and log in and look at your beneficiary designations on your brokerage accounts, on your life insurance policies. Your life insurance policies, man, those are really easy ones to set
Well,
and
doesn't
forget.
my will or trust take care of this automatically?
It does not override your beneficiary designations.
A lot of people think because they changed the classic example is I changed my will or trust to say I was married, I got divorced, and I put my new spouse on my wills and trust. But I had this old life policy that I bought when we were younger for to protect the kids, and I never changed it. And guess what? Your ex will get the money, and they've tested it in court and it's never worked. So it's always good to kind of look at this each time to be sure there's nothing lurking out there, because it does trump whatever you've put on other documents. This kind of bypasses the will or the trust if it's not integrated in. How about another fun one? What do we got in fun ones?
I've got one. This
Okay.
one really resonates with me. I'd like to do so much yoga that it actually justifies the yoga pants that I'm wearing 24/7.
Yeah, everybody's
I like
moved
that.
into.
That's good.
Okay.
I might borrow that one.
Okay. Wills. Now, if you don't have a will, or at least a will, if not a trust, living trust, shame on you, you need to get one. But, if you've got a will, you should go find it. Make sure you can find it, because you need the original copy of a will, a signed original, to probate it. But you should dig it out. And if in fact you find it was written on papyrus, and you look at the witnesses, and Noah or Moses was one of the witnesses, you may want to get the thing redone. It is probably just old, out of date. You should confer with a good attorney. We don't give legal advice, but a good rule of thumb is you always kind of want to make sure the will has been done or in the state you're living in. There's some advantages there too. And besides the will, there's the healthcare power of attorney, durable power of attorney, the living will, the pull the plug document. There's a guardianship document that who's going to take care of you if you, for instance, come down. If you don't have even your spouse, if you don't have some of those things in line, we've seen cases where the court says, okay, you can be the guardian, but you got to come back every year and report to us what you're doing with their money and a lot of things. So you want to be sure if you don't have this in place, you get this in place. Let's see.
Just a second, Bruce, you can put a beneficiary designation on a non-qualified on a taxable brokerage account. You just may have to play with the titling a little bit, but you can put a beneficiary designation on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks in that, and we could spend a whole happy half hour. Maybe we should sometime. It's just one of the least interesting things, but my turn. I'll tell you, I resolved to read more, even if it's just turning on the subtitles while I'm binge watching TV, So there's my resolution.
I like that. I like that one. That's a good one. Can I just add to that and tell you that we, when I say me, my boyfriend Matt and I, we watch movies and all shows with subtitles because we feel like we're getting old and we don't want to turn the volume up too loud. Is that so bad? Oh, I just did it.
I have to admit, we've been doing subtitles a lot, and the more I watch them, the more they need them. It seems like
we do subtitles a lot, and that's because I feel like a lot of I don't hear well. I'm like, huh? What'd they say? And
better. Thank you. That's what we do.
It might be
Neil and saying, what was that?
It might be my imaginations, but the sound quality does not seem to be as tight as it was. I mean, I don't ever remember having trouble making out what the Beverly Hillbillies were saying, but
I
it just
agree.
seems,
I agree.
you
Yes.
know, and on Gilligan's Island, they mic'd it really well, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I
something's
know.
happening. I don't know what
Yeah.
that is, but something's
like
definitely
I
happening.
do. I agree. I feel like people are always whispering now. We're thinking about getting one of
Yeah.
those sound bars or, surround sound, but for now.
We have one. It doesn't help. I
Alexandra
promise
says
you.
hi, and I think her goal is weight loss. Bruce says hi, and so
Yeah, you just
couple of-
yeah, it's I just can't understand them, so it helps.
now how about this one? This is another one, a little maintenance item. If you've got a living trust, in order for a living trust to be real effective, everything you have should be in the trust, everything except IRAs and 401ks. And if you have the special trust, there's things you can do there, but your bank accounts, your brokerage accounts, your property, your titles generally should be in the trust. And usually when we set up a trust, we make sure we do that, and a good attorney will take care of your house and things like that. But over the years, you might, I don't know, a lot of banks now, they seem to get sold 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden it's not the bank you used to have. And we've encouraged a lot of people to go get a credit union instead and find a more friendly, less expensive banking option. Well, when you open that account, did you put it in your trust or did you forget? If you sold your house and moved to another place, did you put it in your, so you kind of need to every so often kind of say, well, did I do anything this year to be sure that, did I do something this year that I forgot to put and make my trust the owner of? Just one of those little maintenance items. Usually you have a pour over will that says, if you forgot something, I'll put it in the trust, but that may have to go through probate. So another thing to keep track of is trust funding. So do we have another piece here? Another joke from someone. Whose turn?
I could throw one out there. You know what I need to do, or both Matt and myself need to do? We need to be more decisive when finding a show on Netflix, Hulu, Prime TV, whatever it is, so that we're not just looking at something and then just eventually just falling asleep or passing out on the couch or giving up and going to bed. So commit and watch it and be done with it. Because you know what? If it's awful, turn it off and find something else, right? So
Yeah, I've always worried
there
about,
it is. There's one.
sometimes I fall asleep before I hit the button and watch it, right? Okay. Another one is updating. And I know we're talking a lot about trust and all, but that's one of the important things to think about at a turning point like a new year. If you've got a will or a trust, did something happen in your family? What kind of things can change in a family, Sam?
Well, births, deaths, marriages, divorces.
Separations, did one of your beneficiaries or your offspring, do they have some problems? Are they disabled, and all of a sudden, if you leave them a lot of money, it might affect that? Or did somebody get separated and you really now no longer want their spouse to be the backup? Or it's divorced, you don't want their spouse to be the backup. So it's always good to sit back and think, is there anything that changed? And again, if you have a question, you can talk to an attorney, you can ask us, we can think about it and help with that. So updating, making sure things are updated is important. What else we got? What other ones do we have on our list of fun things?
Well, I've decided that I'm just gonna stop Googling symptoms, various symptoms. That's probably best for
That's always a good
my
idea.
mental health.
Yes, definitely.
Dr. Google. Okay, what's this one about, Sam?
Required minimum distributions. You have you have all, you have all year, but it is best to go ahead and get out in front of it early in the year. You know that you're gonna have to take them. So it's go ahead and devise a plan now, because the first distributions from your qualified accounts are going to be your required minimum distributions. And once you get them out of your way, then you can do the more exciting things like your qualified charitable distributions and your Roth conversions.
Yeah, and one thing we did learn, that Sam and I are part of Ed Slott's Elite Advisory Group, by law, the first money out is your distribution. So if you do a QCD before taking your distributions, it just isn't going to be right. It just isn't going to be right. While we're on that, we should talk about Roth conversions. Now, if you've been listening to Happy Half Hour, if you're a client, we're big on looking at ways to say, pay the taxes while the rates are low. Ed Slott says, always pay taxes at the lowest rates. For many people, the rates are lower now than they'll be in the future, both because the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires in 2026. Rates are legislated to go up. If one spouse dies, if you're married, one spouse dies, the surviving spouse will be in a higher tax bracket. And boy, the way we're spending money, we hope taxes will go up, because otherwise we might have a currency collapse. It's just crazy. But Roth conversions, you should be thinking, what's my strategy for Roth conversions this year? How much headroom do I have? Things like that. Again,
and you'll also, if you have very similar income every year, then you will be doing your taxes. If I do remember distinctly seeing somebody emailed in saying that their New Year's resolution was to get all of their tax information to their accountant by the end of January, I think, or by February 1st. I think that might have been Barb. I can't remember. But that was somebody's resolution. So ideally, you will soon have, an idea of what your headroom could potentially be in this upcoming year for your Roth conversions.
As Bruce has mentioned, the amount you have to take out of your IRA in RMDs at a given age went down a little this year. And so you got to redo those calculations as well. We actually covered that earlier on a Happy Half Hour.
And we will be covering it, I am certain, in many subsequent Happy Half Hours as well.
Okay, I will give two of these that kind of go together. One is, I kind of resolve, in the words of Benjamin Franklin, where he says that beer is proof that God loves us. I may resolve to drink more, but then at the same time, I resolve to actually tell the doctor the truth when he asks me how many drinks I have in a week,
Oh my gosh, I like that. That's good.
Gifting, think about gifting. You're allowed to give, I think it's going up to like $17,000 a year without any paperwork. You can actually give up to about 11, 12 million each a year if you just fill out some more. In a given, total, if you fill out the right paperwork. But do you have any gifting strategies to your kids, grandkids? Does that make sense now? Grandkids, what about them, Sam? How does that enter in?
Oh God, I don't know.
Well,
you didn't talk to me about why you.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people come and say, hey, I want to put away money for my grandkids' college. I want to do a 529 plan and all. And that's fine, and you can set that up. One thing we kind of encourage, you always want to think a little out of the box. One option is to say, well, look, I'm going to have to get the money from somewhere. Let me take some of my money from an IRA and let me put it into a Roth, pay the taxes and put it into a Roth designated for their education. You can make them or their parents the beneficiary on that Roth should you die. And it's kind of the same thing. You've paid the tax, it'll grow tax-free, they can take it out tax-free, but they don't have all those IRS regulations that come with a 529. 529 is tax-free if you use it for the right things. You know, what happens if your child just doesn't go to college or turns out to be, you know, someone that shouldn't get the money? Well, now you have more flexibility. So there's some smart ways to do this, maybe outside the normal requirements. Time for one more joke. Anybody got one more?
Well, hey, before you go move on to one more joke, one thing that we didn't cover on this list that I think should be mentioned is if you don't already have one, now is a really good time to create yourself, you know, or reorganize your file drawer of important documents.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
if you don't have one, now is a really good time to set one up. There are all kinds of templates you can find online that will show you the different tabs you should have and how you should organize it. And if you already have one and you are not a meticulous, clean, organized person, there's some people who are that person. And then there's other people like me who started out with the best of intentions and just ended up kind of shoving things in there. And you may need to go back and revisit those drawers and do a little bit of a, you know, a New Year's cleaning out and reconceptualize.
If you need help with that, we can point you at some of the files that we purport. Any other funny things? We're getting close to the top of the hour, and we got to still
I have
probably do the
one.
line drawing.
I have one that I would like to just add because I'm an adult, and you know what? I would like to have dessert before dinner sometimes, and I can do that because I'm a grown up now, right?
I
That's
love
right.
it.
Yeah.
Or Brenner.
Eat
Brenner.
dessert first.
Yes,
Life's
pancakes.
So
short.
why not? Let's do it. Let's make that a thing.
One last serious one, and that is,
I like
that
that.
is things like passwords. You probably have passwords for your computer, your cell phone, your pictures. Gosh, if something happened to you, would your family know how to get into those systems? And this was brought to light in even bigger than this. And I think we're going to do a whole happy half hour on it. And I want to get your help, your real life stories. I had a friend, not even a client, but a friend talked to me. Her husband died. And she found out that she couldn't access the water bill, the power bill. They were all in his name. And for her to get control and and be able to manipulate the accounts and pay the money and all, she had to go jump through hoops to get it switched to her name. So if you've had someone who's passed away or know someone and they've come across problems, do me a favor, drop us a little line with what happened. I want to put together a show on that, to what everyone should do to prepare. And you know, I'm also a big believer that if you're well prepared, you'll live forever because it's no fun killing you off. It's kind of like when you take an umbrella on a rainy day, it never rains. It looks like it's going to rain, and it never rains. So you want to be prepared. Think about making sure you write down at least your passwords, and everybody has it.
Or if one spouse is the spouse who opens and controls, you know, bank accounts and brokerage accounts and finances, and has, you know, numerous ones, it would be a really good idea to keep a list of those in one place, or keep a spreadsheet of those and how to access them in one place. So if something were to happen to you,
Put it on the top of that junk drawer full of statements, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one final thing, you know, clients, I know we have a lot of clients listening, and they know they can always call the office if they have a question about anything or need a help or anything. If you're not a client, or, you know, you came to a class years ago and you're here and you have a question, one easy way to get in touch with us is go to a website called Carolina15, Carolina, the number is 15.com. And there you can book a 15-minute phone call with Sam or I and talk about anything you have on your mind. No cost, no obligation, just a way to get a little bit of advice. If one of these 10 things we talked about has you thinking and you got an additional question, Carolina 15 is the place to go. Clients, you can always call the office and say, hey, I need to talk to David or Sam about that. So what's next?
It's our favorite part. It's our wine drawing. So if you're just joining us, each week we give away 2 bottles of wine delivered directly to your door. They are coming from Fermental Bottle Shop, a really great locally owned bottle shop. They're currently still in Ogden, but they are going to be moving down to kind of downtown in the Cargo District here soon. And our winner, I'm sorry, if you don't know how to enter our wine drawing, the way to enter is to as we're here, if you're watching us on Facebook, there's a Facebook event and you just click that you're going, and we'll get you entered. And if you share that Facebook event with a friend, we'll get you an additional entry. And if you are on our email list, we'll send out emails throughout the week to let you know what our topic is going to be. And if you respond to those emails, we'll give you an entry for that as well. And if you forward that email to a friend to let them know about what we're doing here, you will have to let us know about that. But we'll get you entered in for that as well. So without further ado, our winner for this week is Vicky and Jim T. So Vicky and Jim, and they entered a bunch of different ways this week.
They did everything they could possibly do.
Yeah.
Always.
They did. They had their name in our hat or in my jar like 4 times or something.
And we
congratulations. You are our winners.
And we appreciate everybody who shares us with their friends and recommends their friends. And we'll be back next week. I'm actually thinking, I'm not absolutely sure, but I'm thinking we may do our bonds safe next week because the Fed has just announced that they're going to raise rates. The market had a big tumble when they did that. And a lot of people don't understand. It's always good to get a refresher on the difference between interest rates and bond values and how one affects the others. And this might be a good time to do it. So I think that may be our topic next week. I'll make it more interesting than it may sound. Don't worry. So,
you always do.
That'll be our maybe our topic for next week. So with that, everybody, thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
And,
Happy
welcome to
2022.
2022. May it be the best year in this decade.
Yes, it will
So
be. It will be.
Doesn't have a lot of competition.
Bar's low.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Cheers,
Have
everyone.
fun, everyone. See you
Okay.
next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.